In the heart of a quiet town nestled between the hills of a predominantly Christian European country stood an old mosque, Masjid Nur. Small and whitewashed, with a single green dome and two modest minarets reaching gently toward the sky, it was more than just a place of prayer for the local Muslim community. It was a sanctuary of memories, hope, and spiritual resilience. For generations, children took their first steps in its courtyard, mothers wept in sujud beneath its arches, and elders walked every morning to sit beneath its soft light, whispering verses of the Quran. But the tides of politics shifted, and the mosque faced an unprecedented threat. The threat of demolition. The new government, eager to modernize infrastructure, announced plans for a national expressway that would cut directly through the older quarters of the town, right through the land on which Masjid Nur stood. It began quietly, with engineers taking measurements and placing markers near the mosque's boundary wall. Then came the cold, bureaucratic letter, a 30-day eviction and demolition notice. Imam Youssef, a calm and thoughtful man in his late 60s, read the letter aloud after Jumu'ah prayer. The congregation fell into stunned silence. His voice trembled slightly as he folded the paper, looking at the rows of men, women, and children who called this place their spiritual home. "My brothers and sisters," he began slowly, "we are told that our house of worship must be destroyed. But a house built with sincerity, where the name of Allah has been raised in remembrance day and night, cannot be erased by ink on paper." His words were met with tears and clenched fists of helpless anger. Community mobilization. That night, a town hall meeting was held in the mosque courtyard. Despite the cold air, hundreds gathered, Muslims, a few Christians, and even secular townsfolk who respected the mosque's presence. "What right do they have to erase history?" cried Brother Rahman, a school teacher. "This isn't just about concrete and tar. This is about identity and faith." Sister Samira, a young lawyer, suggested writing petitions and taking the matter to court. But Imam Youssef stood up again, holding his misbah prayer beads. "We will exhaust every halal means," he said firmly. "But before anything else, we turn to Allah. We will pray, we will fast, and we will not raise our voices in anger but in righteousness." From that day forward, Masjid Nur became a center of spiritual mobilization. Every evening, people gathered not just for Maghrib and Isha, but for heartfelt du'as that rose into the winter skies like incense. The Imam began reading Surah Yasin after every prayer, and mothers whispered Ayat al-Kursi at dawn. The power of faith. As the pressure from the outside world grew, government officials refused to meet with the mosque committee. The town mayor, once a friendly face, claimed his hands were tied. A government spokesperson appeared on TV stating, "Development must not be hindered by outdated structures. The mosque will be relocated respectfully." But Masjid Nur was not just a building. It was a vessel of prayer soaked in generations of sujud. As tensions escalated, media began to trickle in. Independent journalists picked up the story, but it wasn't enough to sway the powers that be. Construction vehicles began arriving near the town, and fear crept in. Some whispered that it was over, that they should begin packing the Qurans and artifacts. But Imam Youssef did something unexpected. He entered the mosque and remained inside for 7 days and nights, fasting, praying, and reciting the Quran alone. A miracle unfolds. On the 27th night, a strange sense of stillness filled the mosque. The next morning, the bulldozers rolled forward and the congregation stood in front of the mosque in silence. No signs, no shouting, just prayer. As the first excavator lifted its massive claw and swung it toward the mosque wall, something extraordinary happened. The metal groaned, shuddered, and then snapped in half. The operator leapt out, cursing in disbelief. One by one, the machines suffered identical failures, broken parts, unexplainable shutdowns, and thick plumes of white smoke. Imam Youssef stood barefoot on the mosque steps, holding the Koran to his chest. "If Allah protects his house," he said, voice trembling but strong, "then no power on earth can bring it down." Word of the failed demolition spread like wildfire. Video clips went viral on social media, and hashtags like #Unshakable Mosque and #Masjid Miracle began trending. By sunset, people arrived from nearby towns, some out of curiosity, others with reverence. Inside, Imam Youssef sat quietly, his face illuminated by the soft glow of a lantern. When asked for interviews, he simply smiled and said, "This house does not belong to me. It belongs to the one who never sleeps." The community's response. As the mosque became a symbol of resilience, the atmosphere in the village transformed. People came day and night to pray, reflect, and simply sit in silence. Young men returned to their faith, and even skeptics began to question their doubts. One such young man, Elias, who had grown up in the village, found himself drawn back to the mosque after witnessing the miracle. Imam Youssef welcomed him with open arms, saying, "When Allah touches the heart, no machine can stop it." Elias joined the congregation for Fajr prayer, and soon after he began volunteering full-time at the mosque. Meanwhile, Mr. Ralphin, the official behind the demolition plan, faced mounting pressure. His empire was collapsing, and whispers of corruption floated in political circles. In a desperate attempt to discredit Imam Youssef, he orchestrated a smear campaign, but the truth began to shine through the darkness. The power of truth. Laya, an investigative journalist, uncovered the coordinated smear campaign against the mosque. With evidence in hand, she approached Imam Youssef, who encouraged her to expose the truth. Her article went viral, sparking outrage and demonstrations across the nation. The Ministry of Interior was forced to respond, and the president issued a statement urging protection for all places of worship. But the enemies of truth were not done yet. An arson attempt on the mosque was thwarted by a sudden downpour of rain, which extinguished the flames. Imam Youssef urged calm, saying, "The fire of hatred only strengthens the light of Iman." The community rallied together, and even non-Muslims came to show their support. Sophia, the journalist who had come to investigate, announced her conversion to Islam during a prayer gathering, declaring, "I came here as a reporter, but I'm leaving as a believer." The mosque became a beacon of hope, drawing people from all walks of life. A new beginning. As the first anniversary of the miracle approached, a mass gathering was planned, not of protest but of remembrance. Over 50,000 people were expected to arrive. Imam Youssef requested that there be no stage, no microphones, and no banners. "There is no star here but Allah," he said. The gathering was breathtaking. People stood shoulder to shoulder, praying together, their hearts united in faith. Imam Youssef delivered a powerful khutbah, reminding everyone that victory is not in rulings or politics, but in finding Allah in their hearts. As the crowd wept, a little boy tugged on Imam Youssef's sleeve, asking, "Will the mosque always stay safe?" The Imam knelt down and replied, "As long as there is one heart that believes, this mosque will never fall." Conclusion. The eternal light. The mosque, once marked for destruction, became a symbol of eternal protection. It stood not as a monument of stone and mortar, but as a living testimony to what happens when faith meets adversity. The village, now known as Kampangur, or the Village of Light, welcomed seekers of truth from across the globe. Imam Yusef, affectionately called Sheikh Nur, continued to serve his community with humility. The real miracle was not just the survival of the mosque, but the transformation of hearts. Hearts once filled with doubt, resentment, and fear, now united in love and faith. As the sun set over Masjid Nur, the community stood together, a testament to the unshakable promise of, "There is no God but Allah." The light had not only remained, it had grown, illuminating the path for generations to come.